Ride to Hell, Retribution. Oh my god, this game sucks. Let me tell you the reasons why I hate this game in my opinion. Poor first impression. The game opens with Jake using a turret, driving his motorcycle, and getting into a QTE fist fight. The whole sequence jumps back and forth, has no setup and shows a cutscene. Jake kills Colt, that was spoiled later in the game. Numerous bugs and glitches. That is, Jake will occasionally walk upside down. They become worse in vehicle sections where parts of the scenery disappear, your bike appearing outside barriers, suddenly warping forward and falling through the road into limbo. The story itself is extremely poor and basic. It basically boils down to kill the next gang member. And every single time, the gang member flees to 2 or 3 new hideouts to shamelessly pad out the game. Because of the drawn-out mission structure, the game is roughly 12 hours long for a single playthrough on Badass Biker difficulty, twice as long as your average crappy game. The main characters are all unlikable and completely moronic. For example, Mikey spent hours wearing the very clearly labeled Retribution jacket and Mac never told him to take it off despite being fully aware that the Devil's Hand gang controlled the area. Speaking of the characters, many of them are generic and unlikable, being nothing more than just stereotypes such as the women, who are either damsels in distress or in some cases strippers, Carlos the hippie, who just so happens to be a drug dealer, and the biker gang characters themselves, including Jake, the game's protagonist. Outdated graphics. Despite running on Unreal Engine 3, with ugly depth of field effect and oversaturated colors, though you can disable them by editing the config file, with some horrendous texture pop-in that make the game look even worse. Keep in mind, this game was supposed to release in 2009. Interestingly enough, DX discovered that by going through the game's indie files, he was able to drastically change how the game looks just by adjusting a couple things like removing oversaturated colors, obnoxious bloom, readjusting the FOV, and even changing the bike's handling, making it a lot smoother to drive. The changes are so drastic that it made the game look like it actually might have come out in 2013. Lazy and puppet-like character animations. No character has any real face animation, with one of the worst facial animations in the gaming history. Jake's actions in the game make him a borderline criminal. The voice acting and dialogue are extremely poor. Quote Angry Joe, it's as if the lines were recorded in the bathroom of the studio by unpaid interns. And DX, the voice acting was recorded via tin can walkie-talkies. The most infamous line is spoken by Carlos, "Oh suki suki. Oh wow." The PC version itself was simply a console port of the 360 version, making the PC version one of the worst PC ports of all time. As a result, there were no video settings to change the game's resolution. Thankfully, it can be set in the game's config file, and graphics settings to get rid of the game's horrible texture pop-ups. Also, the horrible control scheme, which involves pressing F112 to scroll through the menu, among other things, for the PC port can't be remapped. Poor and unfinished sound design and audio mixing. Many cutscenes are dead silent other than the characters' voices and inconsistent sound effects. The conversation between Jake and Mikey on a bike was a prime example of this. Awkward and disjointed cutscenes. For example, when Colt saw Mikey wearing the vest, the game jumps to Jake and Mikey being pursued by the Devil's Hand bikers. After the pursuit section, it jumps to them got cornered by the bikers without any transition. The game randomly freezes, crashes. And that's how the game is. I don't know who likes this game, so I'm just going to leave it be. Who hates this game? UglyracerGaming. He's the one who requested me this rant. So screw Ride to Hell, Ret, and screw Bratz. SpongeBob SquarePants featuring Nicktoons. Globs of Doom is 190,000 times better than Ride to Hell, Retribution. End of rant.